What's up, everybody? Welcome to Rewind 245. I'm here to talk about Beyond Two Souls. This is a special edition. It comes with some DLC and some other bonus features. Um, I just want to have a conversation about Beyond Two Souls because Beyond Two Souls has been getting such mixed reviews and opinions. And I just want to give my 2 cents. Now, before I get ahead of myself, I want to first talk about what other people are saying about it, from the negatives and the positives and what I think. So I'm not going to go into spoilers just yet. I will probably post my review up soon, or probably be up right now. I'm not really sure, but I want to make a review so it could be much more condensed. This is going to be a long conversation because I really want to talk about this game. You can already see my enthusiasm for it. Sorry, that's my mom screaming out my mom's name. My brother's name, sorry. I just want to have a conversation about this game. It has been getting mixed reviews. Right now, we're just gonna talk about, the gist of what other people think about it and what I think about it. So no spoilers yet, but later on I will get to spoilers. But I'll let you know. I'll put a description down below of when I start spoiling the game, so that's when you can stop exiting the video. But I just want a genuine conversation with this. This will go on for several minutes or it'll go on for an hour or two, so we'll see. But I doubt it because my battery life is not that good. So anyway, I guess the first thing I want to talk about is the reviews. IGN gave it a 6 out of 10. Rev3 Games gave it a 5 out of 5. GameSpot gave it a 9 out of 10. Polygon gave it an 8 out of 10. So it's very mixed. There's a lot of negatives and a lot of positives, and even looking at the comment section is also very mixed up. You have people on IGN who really hate the game, really hate David Cage and Quantum Dream for making an interactive movie. It is an interactive movie, but some people criticize it and make a joke out of it. And when you go to Rev3 Games or GameSpot, there's a lot of support for the game. There's a lot of people who support the reviewer or the reviewee, and that's cool. But I think it's obvious I enjoyed the game. I thoroughly enjoyed it. If you want to see my critical critique of the game, check out the review. I'll give the score and what I think of the negatives and the positives. But I want to go into other kind of details. Not story, not yet, but I want to go into other kinds of details of what people have been saying about the negatives about Beyond Two Souls and what I think. Where some people think it's a negative and I think it's a positive. So one of the first reviews I saw was the IGN review, and yeah, they gave it a 6 out of 10, and I respect the review. I kind of agree with some of their points, but I think the review's kind of shallow. It's too narrow. It feels like they were more focused on what the game, offered, like this interactive story, and that's it. It didn't feel like they went deep into it, like what the game meant, what did the game, the emotional depth of the characters and yada yada. But one of the complaints from IGN, from the reviewer, she said that she one of the complaints was, of course, a disorganized story, because the way the story is outlined is that it's like a timeline, and you're jumping around through Jodie's through her childhood, adolescence, and adulthood, and it's an interesting combination. It's an interesting take. At first, it was kind of weird. First you're a child, then you're adult, then you're a child, then you're a teenager. It felt weird, but I think as you progress through the game, it gets much smoother, and you get sort of used to through that pacing. Because at first, like in my first 2 hours playing it, it's like I went through like 10 scenes in a 2 hour period. But things started to slow down a little bit, and I kind of like that, and I want to put my 2 cents on why Quantum Dream or David Cage did that kind of style. One of my perspectives on why Quantum Dream did that jumping around style is to keep it as a mystery, because Heavy Rain was a mysterious game. It was like, who was the origami killer? I'll try not to spoil much about Heavy Rain for those who haven't played it. But who is the Origami Killer? And Heavy Rain is very steadily paced. It has a beginning, middle, and end. Um, where so in a way, I felt the way the story was constructed and beyond, I felt that was just a way to keep it a mystery, to make you want to keep on playing the game, want you to keep on questioning, want you to keeping on discovering and finding out what's going to happen next. And I think it worked effectively because my brother was asking a lot of questions when he was starting to play, and he just finished it and he loved it. And when he played his first playthrough, he's like, holy shit, what's going on? He was asking so many questions. I'm like, just play and you'll find out. And eventually he finished it and he loved it. And I guess that's just a cool thing that they decided to go out of the way by doing something completely different. But that's one perspective. I think they did that for the sake of keeping it mysterious. Another perspective I have is the sake to keep the gameplay or the pacing interesting, because one of the complaints on Heavy Rain is that Heavy Rain it started off too slow. Like the first hour or two was just you walking around and pressing things or touching things or whatever. And it started very slow and didn't get to the action or the suspense part until like 2.5 or 3 hours in. And okay, so I felt like my second opinion on it is just to keep the pacing kind of interesting, because like I said, Heavy Rain started off very slow. And I didn't have a problem with Heavy Rain's pacing, because a lot of people complained about Heavy Rain that it started off slow and then it had excitement, and then it went slow again, then it was exciting, then it went slow again. So people thought and a lot of people thought Heavy Rain was boring. So I guess this was a way for Quantum Dream to be like, okay, let's give the player a little bit more diversity, because if you look at the timeline, if it were to go in the chronological order, I think it would have went too long to get to the good part. Because yeah, you're as a child, then your adolescence, then your adulthood in Jodie's life. And if it were to go chronological order, the stuff between her childhood and adolescence, while they're interesting and have a lot of character depth, add a lot of character depth to Jodie and the supporting cast, they're not fun to play. They're not exciting. They're just more emotionally toned moments, and I don't mind them. I like it. But for the more action junkie, they don't want to go through that shit. They don't want to go to 2 or 3 hours of you just touching shit, or looking at shit. You want to get to the action. So I guess that was Quantum Dream. I guess that's the reason. Another reason why they styled it that way is so they could give you a bit of excitement at one point, and then the moment where you have a touchy moment. And I thought it worked effectively. At some points it felt pretty weird, because you will go through a crazy action scene and then all of a sudden you're this very intimate moment. But I don't know, I thought it worked effectively. I really liked it. I thought it was an interesting twist to the way it was formatted. I don't know, that's just my take. It could have been that they wanted to make it mysterious and wanted the player questioning and keep on playing, or it could have just been simply to make the gameplay more interesting and not get the player bored, not make it stale for the player. Another criticism was the combat. I'm indifferent when it comes to the combat. At some points I really like it, and at some points I kind of got frustrated. But for the most part, I think I like it because it's really not that hard. A lot of people said, "Oh, it's really hard to interpret what's on it," and it is at some points. Because there's some points where I thought I did it correctly, but I actually did it wrong, and I was like, "What the fuck? I did it right." But then, but for the most part, it's pretty simple. There's some scenes where it's blatantly obvious that you need to go right to dodge or go left to hit. Sometimes it looks really obvious, and that's the thing. Like whenever I won't mess up, it was frustrating. But whenever I did well on the comment, it felt satisfying. So I'm pretty indifferent, but I think it's okay for the most part. And the thing is, the game doesn't punish you if you mess up. It always gives you a chance to redeem yourself. Like in the demo session, Beyond, I talked about my impressions on it. You can get caught twice by the cops, but there's always a chance to redeem yourself and move forward. So I guess that's just because no matter what, you almost every player is gonna end up in the same spot, except for the ending. We'll talk about the ending later, but you're sort of in the same spot. It's just how you end up getting there. Do you end up getting there doing very well and hitting everybody, or do you go there half-ass and get caught by the cops twice? So I think it's cool that they don't punish a player just because they fumble a lot on the combat. And using Aiden is real cool. I think works pretty effectively. There's some gameplay things that they do with Aiden that are kind of awkward. Like there's this thing where if you want to look through people's minds, or like their past or whatever, like through dead people, like sometimes there's a dead body, and if you want to read the past to or how they ended up dead, then what you do is you connect this blue kind of thing and connect it to Jody's head. And it's kind of awkward to control, but I kind of got used to it. And yeah, that's the only thing. Just like one or two of his unique controls are odd, but for the most part they're pretty simple. It's like to possess is pretty simple, to choke and kill someone is simple, to knock over something is simple. Using Aiden was pretty cool because it gave you kind of an empowering feeling, but also give you very an expecting and explorative kind of feeling, like because there are also areas in the game where if you use Aiden you could find bonuses and be like, oh, look what I discovered. So yeah, I think Aiden for the most part was pretty effective. Let's see other complaints that some people had. I think the story had great character depth. And that's one of the things that IGN review didn't go up, is that the characters Jodie surrounds herself, they don't really matter in the short term. It's like the homeless part, like when Jodie's homeless. This is really a big spoiler because they already show gameplay of this. But like there's a scene where she's homeless. I won't go into deep details, but she surrounds herself with these characters, and at first they're like, oh, well, this is just something to fill out the gap. But at the very end of the game, meeting those people can mean your destiny. It also depends because you meet other people around the game, and you can decide which destiny you want to take. And I think that's a really cool thing. You create these connections with these other characters, and at the end of the game, you have the choice to see if those connections matter or not. We'll go more into detail later. I won't go super detail right now. But yeah, like I felt like the character deaths were really genuine because Willem Dafoe's character, Dr. Dawkins, I'm not gonna get spoilers. I'm trying to emphasize no spoilers yet. But yeah, with Dr. Dawkins' character, first he's just this guy who's looking after Jodie and experimenting on how Aiden works and all that stuff. But you see much more impact on him later in the game, and you see he's not just Jodie's protector or whatever, or some guy who's experimenting on her. He's a guy that has much more emotional depth. He has a goal, and he's very serious about accomplishing something that means so much to him. And like the game has small moments because on that homeless scene you have the option, when you're in a conversation with the other homeless people, you have the option to just stop the conversation and just go to bed. But you also have the option to be able to interact with the other characters and see their past, see like the depth perception, because one of the homeless characters has quite a bit of depth perception. At first he's just another homeless character who, is looking after his homeless people. But then once you explore his emotions, it becomes so much more grand. And that's the thing I love, is that the characters besides Jodie and Willem Dafoe have so much depth and have so much meaning to the story, and they matter at the end of the game. Here, let's talk about something else. I wrote some stuff down in case I forget what to talk about. Negatives, meaning of story, character depth. Oh, that's the thing I want to talk about. I think people came in with the wrong perspective on attacking this game, because I felt people thought it would be like Heavy Rain, but just with a different story. The only similarity this game has compared to Heavy Rain is its choices. That's it. Other than that, the graphics are far superior than Heavy Rain, and the story is much more interesting and complex than Heavy Rain. I will say Heavy Rain is much more consistent, and it has a sense of consistency, and Beyond is very inconsistent, but that's what makes it so interesting. So with that said, Heavy Rain, you feel emotional from beginning to end, where Heavy Rain, there's only moments where you feel emotional, and there's some moments where you just feel you're just doing shit for whatever. But yeah, like, I felt like people came into this game expecting it would be somewhat like Heavy Rain, but just with a different story. And really, it's nothing like Heavy Rain, but I think that's a good thing, because Heavy Rain was a good game in its own right. It was a very captivating game. It was very dark. It was very, depending on the endings and choices you make, it could be very depressing, or it could be very, enlightful, as far as I can tell, because Heavy Rain also has 4 playable characters, and I felt that was, for Quantum Dream, I felt that was much more easier to transition, because you could be Ethan Mars at one point, and you could be doing stuff with your kid or whatever, or doing an obstacle, and then once you finish that sequence, you could transition to Madison Page or any of the other characters, and it would not feel awkward, because you're going through different stories, but they're all going, the timeline's going at the same time. But yeah, that's the one thing Beyond I feel has a disadvantage, because you only have one playable, well, technically 2, but it's really 2 players in one. 2 playable characters in one, and I feel like that was a disadvantage, because if it were to work chronologically, for one, yeah, it would take too long to get to the good part, and I think I just think it would be weird to transition, because first actually it'll be smoother to transition if it will be chronologically. It's just that it will not add any variety, because that's the thing with Heavy Rain. You have 4 playable characters, whatever, 4, and it had a sense of variety. First you're Ethan Mars doing one thing, and then you're Madison Page doing another thing. It gives a little bit more variety. The biggest variety in Heavy Rain, it was using Ahmed Jaden, because he was more of a investigative. You're with him, you're solving puzzles, or getting evidence and stuff like that. So I felt like, yeah, that jumping around, I guess, was a way of giving it diversity. First you're a child as Jodie, doing experiments or whatever, or doing experiments, and then you're as an adult, doing training or whatever, doing military training. And I guess that's the reason why another reason why they transition is, to keep it diverse, because if it were to go chronologically, it would be like you just doing the same old thing for 3 hours or more, and then slowly getting to the good part. And I don't think I will have a problem with it, but I think that might have been weird or whatever. But yeah, I feel like some people just came with it with the wrong perception. It's like, oh my god, Beyond Two Souls is from the creators of Heavy Rain. Heavy Rain was so awesome, so emotional. We can't wait for Beyond Two Souls, and then people get it. It's like, what the hell is this? So discombobulated. The gameplay is odd or awful. The story is all over the place. You know, so much negativity for some people, not everyone. And I feel like they just went in with the review the very wrong approach, and you know it differed because yeah, people gave it very low scores, and some people gave it very high scores. And I just like the themes they go through these. They express, they talk about the afterlife. They talk about life and death. They talk about love and loss. It's such deep, meaningful feelings and emotions, things that we struggle almost every day in life. And that's another thing I kind of felt. I feel like Heavy Rain was more established. I feel like David Cage and the team were like, okay, this is what Heavy Rain is about, and let's see if the fans cooperate. I mean, let's see if the consumers or the fans cooperate. And a lot of people did. Some people don't like Heavy Rain just because it's boring. Really, that's it. But most people liked it. I liked it. I really liked it. It's one of the best games I ever played on the PlayStation. But I think with Beyond, it was more conflicting. I felt like they were more like, okay, this is what we think it is, but we'll see if people will like it. I felt like more abstract, more like they were unsure. Where Heavy Rain felt like there was a little bit more confidence. Maybe not as much confidence because David Cage did say he was surprised of how much Heavy Rain sold. But with Beyond, you have the big uplift that you have two celebrities on the game, but in terms of its premise and its concepts, they're not really entirely sure people are going to get into it, because it also explores the supernatural. So I guess it also depends on your beliefs. I'm agnostic, so I'm indifferent when it comes to the afterlife or whatever. But if you're an extreme atheist, who knows? You may not like it, because it talks about ideas that you may not be interested, or you may not appeal to. My little brother, he's an atheist. I don't know if he's a hardcore atheist, but he's an atheist. But he loved the game. So I guess those supernatural things didn't really alter his perspective. And I think that's another thing, is that the way I play the game, I play 2 hours every night by myself in my room. And I think that's the best way to play it, to give yourself a more genuine feeling. Beyond Two Souls has the option to play two-player, one person controlling Jody and one controlling Aiden, with some application on the iPhone or Android. And I think that's cool. I want to try that out. I haven't tried it out yet, but I think if you're gonna play with someone you're intimate with, not in a sexual way, but just like intimate in a way where you're friendly with each other, but at the same time you have an understanding of your emotions and feelings. Because yeah, there are some kind of funny parts, some parts that are funny and are meant to be funny, but I think those are just little theoretical hiccups. Maybe some of those were meant to be funny. Heavy Rain had some moments that weren't meant to be funny but were funny anyway. And yeah, like I feel like that's the best way to play it, is play by yourself in the room for however long you want, to give yourself a genuine feeling of how you truly feel about the game. And I guess that's the other thing. Don't let anyone else give you your perspective on the game, because yeah, IGN, I'm gonna come back to IGN. Just so many people who are disliking the game, and when they see the review, they're like, oh, you see, Beyond Two Souls sucks. And I feel like that's just kind of ignorant, because for one, you haven't even tried out the game, so what do you know? Who knows, maybe you'll like it. And they're just feeding off from the reviewers, like, oh, just because this person dislikes it, I'm gonna dislike it, so I'm not gonna give it a chance. but no, I think everybody should give it a chance. I think for those who are very interested, like how I was, give it a chance. Buy the game. To me, it was extremely worth it. It's a game that I definitely want to go back to, and I'll be remembering for a very long time. For those who are indifferent about the game, who are not really sure whether to get it or not, I say try it out. Of course, I'll tell you to buy it because we need to support games like this that are different and unique, because the industry is shoving our throats with so many Call of Duties and Assassin's Creeds. Let's see something different. Let's see something fresh in the market. Not that I have a problem with Call of Duty or Assassin's Creed. It's just, come on, man. This shit's getting ridiculous. But I recommend you buy it. But if you're hesitant about buying it, then borrow it from a friend or rent it from whether GameFly or Blockbuster or not. But yeah, like, I'm just saying, give it a chance. And if it's really under your radar, of course, I'm gonna still say give it a chance. But like, that's the thing. For those who've read reviews and seen other people's opinions, don't come with the mindset like, oh my god, this person said bad things about it. What happens if I don't like it? Or like, or what if it, or things like that. Don't think about that. Just come with the game with a fresh slate. Come with your own perspective, your own opinion. Don't feed off any other person's opinion. Because when I saw the IGN review, I agree with their opinion. I agree with some of the stuff they brought up. Because I did have some issues about it, but I felt like the story and everything else sort of overshadowed the negatives. And yeah, like, just come up with your very own fresh perspective. Let's see, hold on. I think I run out of things to say. I think we'll start getting into the spoiler parts. Stories. Okay, this is where it's gonna get very spoilery. So turn off YouTube or whatever. We're gonna get spoilery right now. Ready? Okay. So, damn, man, the story of Beyond Two Souls is so fucking amazing, and this is why I want to have a conversation about it, because it's so damn meaningful and so damn good. I think there were some parts that really hit me and made me choke up a couple of times. But like, it's hard to make it spoilery because, okay, let's talk about some specific scenes. I guess the part with Willem Dafoe, because I guess one of the reasons why it was so disjointed is because when you find out Willem Dafoe's part, and basically what happens to Willem Dafoe if you played it, when you played it, you find out his family has died, and now later on in the game he's obsessed with the idea of being with his family, to connect the living world with the infra world. And at the time I was like, holy shit. And then when you have the option with Jody to be able to communicate with his family when his family's stuck on that weird transistor thing, and then like Jody's eyes go blank, and then they're just saying, oh, leave us alone, let us go. And then Willem Dafoe, he can't accept that. He thinks Jody's fucking with him. I was like, holy shit, what the hell's going on? And yeah, like, there were some scenes that felt like they didn't really matter at the moment, but they mattered in the long run, because when you meet the Native American people and then you go through that weird storm shit, I was like, okay, why are we doing this? What does this matter? And in a way I still kind of question it, but at the end of the game you decide, whether you want to go beyond the realm and be with the Native Americans who've died, or if you choose life, you could decide whether you want to be with the Native American boys and live a life with them. That's the one I picked. There are, I think, at least 5 endings. Yeah, at the end of the game, there's 2 sides. There's the dark there's the Beyond World, which is basically kind of like a haven place. My brother did that ending, and from what he told me, there's no options in there. It's just that ending. And then there's the life world, real life. And in that world, you have 5 options. You have the option to, no, 4 options. You have the option to spend your life with Ryan, to spend your life with the Native Americans, to spend your life with the homeless woman who gave birth, or be alone. And I picked the Native American because, one, Ryan was an asshole. I wanted to give him a chance, but like, seriously, the guy had a whole fucking army chasing after Jody. I'm like, no. Yeah, he told Jody he loved her like a few times, but I'm like, no, you try fucking coming after me over some shit that Jody was very strong about. Being alone, I didn't want to see Jody alone. I wanted her to have her own destiny, to live a good life, and go with Zoe. I'm gonna go back to it and redo, see how the other endings go. But Zoe, I didn't think, with Zoe I didn't connect that much, but I did like that sequence with the homeless people because because when after the homeless scene, Jody gets knocked out, and then Jody gets knocked out, and the homeless people come to the hospital and give their blessings, not their blessings, but come and visit Jody as she's in a minor coma. But yeah, that's the ending I picked. But one of the parts that really choked me up, the ending choked me up because once you have that split, Bioshock Infinite, once you have that split, whether to choose the Beyond world or the real life world, I was like, I cried, and then because I was thinking about what would I pick in the situation. We all have that chance every day. Do we choose to kill ourselves and go never exist anymore in the real world, or do we choose to continue our lives and have experiences? And I was thinking about in my level, what would I pick in the situation, and I picked life. That part made me choke up, and because also the music and the way it looks so good and sounded so well, and the soundtrack's so amazing. And another part that choked me up was the part where you meet Jody's mom, and she's conflicting because she's in a coma, sort of, I guess. She's her eyes are open. It's just she's not aware of where she is. There's no stability in her. And then when you sort of read her past, and then you leave, then you go out the door, it has an option: do you want to stay or do you want to leave? I was like, there's still things to do, so I'm gonna stay. Let's see what else we gotta do. And then once you go back to the mother, you have the option to kill her. That part almost wrecked me, because I was thinking about my mom and what I do, or not just my mom, but what I do this if I had a loved one. It's like having a loved one on life support. Would you want to let them suffer and just stay in that position for the rest of their lives, or do you wanna just end it and have them move on? So it's very, very compelling options. Throughout the beginning, you have small options like, well, do you want to kiss this boy, or do you want to let's see, there's other options, but small, they're not huge. The big options come at the very end. You all know that if you, of course, you're in the spoiler part of the session. But the themes of the supernatural, like that scene when the first time you have dark entities, that was creepy. That was pretty creepy. And then things just start getting more crazy as you progress, because if you use Aiden, you can see you have the options to read some of the people's minds, and I think I read all of them, all of their minds, all of the dead parties' minds, and you just start unlocking more secrets, and it just gets more and more sinister and more intense. And then, then finally, when you get to the sequence when you had to turn off the stupid thing, um, that was an awesome scene. Like, you're Aiden and you're just you're just attacking the dark entities, or vanishing them away. That scene was fucking awesome. Um, and I guess that they messed around with the dark entities 4 times. That one time I just said, I guess the Native American part, but that was a little different. The part with the 8 North Koreans, I think. The Koreans, I don't know. I don't know which Koreans were, what Asians were they, but yeah, when you had to go underwater and take out that thing, and then at the very end of the game, where Dr. Dawkins tries to create wants to have the info world and the real world connected. That was really fascinating, and yeah, like the choices I made, you know, kind of I guess stuck true to what I believe, because I didn't fuck Ryan, because I didn't trust Ryan. I felt like there was something about him, because the first time him and Jodie meet, he's a fucking asshole. I'm like, who the fuck do you think you are? And then on the next scene after that, all of a sudden Jodie has a crush on him. And I'm like, no, 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 he ain't getting any of this pussy. So yeah, like it gives you the option to kiss him or not, and I didn't. And I kind of stick by it that I didn't have a close relation with him. For it sounds pretty gay, but it's a fucking video game. I'm not gay, by the way. But like, because I felt like they were doing too much to make you want to care about him, and I did care about him, because at the end, like, I felt kind of bad leaving him in the friend zone, and because yeah, like you had that part where you had the option to have sex with him, and then later on you have the option to tell him, well, do you love him or not? And then after that part, you have the option to say it again, I think, if you want to spend your life with him or not. And then at the very, very end of the game, you have the option if you want to choose life, and are you going to spend your time with him. So yeah, but like, how can I forget this, the twist at the end. Now, let's see, the twist was pretty cool. I still think Bioshock Infinite's twist was much more crazy, but like the twist in Heavy Rain, I'm not gonna spoil it for those of you, but for the twist in Heavy Rain, I was like, huh, I didn't see that coming. I should have saw it coming, but I didn't. And I guess it's somewhat the same over here. Sorry for the sound in the background if you hear that. But like for over here, I'm like, oh, I didn't see that coming, but I should have saw it coming, because yeah, Aiden is Jodie's twin brother, and I thought that was pretty cool, because they sort of messed around that. They don't really mess around with that idea, like, oh, who's Aiden? They don't really go much in depth of the history of Aiden, but you're kind of questioning yourself, who's Aiden? The story doesn't force that story, of who's Aiden. You're really just discovering things about Jodie, things with the CIA and Willem Dafoe. But then when you find out about Aiden, it's like, holy crap, And then, yeah, you have that sequence where, he's in the flesh. And I haven't played the Beyond world. I haven't done the Beyond session yet, that ending. I want to do that. But before I do that, I want to do the other endings on the other side. But yeah, like, Aiden's is still around when you pick the ending when you're with the Native Americans. He's still around. What time is it? He's still around. But yeah, I thought that twist was pretty cool. I'm like, oh crap. Didn't. Yeah, they say he was a stillborn. I don't really know what that means, but I just assumed that he died and he somehow was linked to Jodie. But yeah, that was a really cool twist. What else can we talk about the story? The stuff with her in adolescence, they were interesting but kind of annoying. But I guess it's understandable, because it's also a coming of age story. Because you have her when she's a kid, and her parents, not her real parents, her foster parents leave her, and you have the option to kill the foster father or not. I think you could kill him. I don't know, because I released it when I was choking him. Um, but yeah, like when you're a teenager, she's going through a very complicated phase, and teenagers, first she's very shy to go into that one party, and she ends up getting making fun at, and then you have the option to act for revenge or just leave. I got revenge. Those guys were assholes. I'm like, you guys are getting your asses whooped. I'm gonna use iron on you. And then yeah, then when she's like in the rocker outfit, which by the way she looks pretty hot in, yeah, she goes to that phase. But I feel that the phases are understandable because yeah, she has abandonment issues because she's been split from two different families. First, her biological mother, she never knew her real father, and her foster parents left her, and now she's with Willem Dafoe, and Willem Dafoe has been a good guidance to her, but she does have abandoning problems. She kind of portrays these issues when she's an adolescent. She's very rebellious, and but she grows up. I guess that's what I like, is that as a child is like more of a thing about parents. She has an issue with her parents, and then when she's a teenager, is about an issue about wanting to have friends, wanting to belong. That's what almost every teenager goes through. And then when she's an adult, she starts thinking about love. She starts thinking about who she's gonna have a relationship with, or what she's gonna do with her life. And yeah, like I felt like they could have done more with the CIA stuff, because there's only one CIA mission, and that's when that's the desert one, the one when you're in Africa. I forget which part of Africa. But that scene was interesting. The gameplay stuff on it was pretty narrow, I think. I guess. I mean, there's some situations where I killed someone, but I don't know if I had to do that, or if I had the option not to do it. But that part in Africa was pretty cool. I didn't mind. Like the controls felt kind of rigid, but like it felt so cool to play through, because it felt like you're a soldier. Like the way Jodie moves felt so stealthy and so cool. Then you could also discover little things around that scene. And then yeah, you meet the little black kid, that I'm not gonna say black, the little African kid, and at first he wants to kill you, and then you heal him up, and like all of a sudden he's like, holy shit, it's a miracle. That's the thing, these guys don't understand each other at all. Jodie and the African kid don't understand each other at all, but there's kind of a mutual understanding between them. And like then the African kid sort of starts showing her the way of where to go. And then you get to a part where yeah, you have to split up, and yeah, they have an understanding. We have to split up. Jodie has to do her thing. She needs to kill who she needs to kill. And then yeah, you find out then when you kill the person you kill, along with the group of people, you find out that one of the people you killed is the African kid's father. And I'm like, holy shit, because once he stepped into the room, and like he started crying and speaking his father's name or whatever, it was like, I was just like, holy shit, what the fuck did we do? And I guess that's a little kind of nitpick thing, is like, why didn't I have the option to not kill him? But that's just the way the story's supposed to go. That's what makes it interesting and gives a certain level of depth. And then after that, the African kid just starts hating you, and he starts yelling at you and stuff. And then later on, you find out from Ryan. Well, not from Ryan, but like when you're in the helicopter, I think with Ryan, you see the TV and you find out that it was really the president that Jodie ended up killing, and he was actually something positive to the country, not something negative, I think. And yeah, she got really pissed off with Ryan, and yeah, like that was one of the reasons why I didn't want to get attached to him because he was an asshole, but he was also a cool guy. You know, he cared about Jodie. You know, yeah. The thing is, because at first, like I think about with Ryan, I'm like, you know what? He had orders, and he just expressed those orders onto Jodie. You know, it's just his job. You know, but at the same time, the fucking asshole had the whole fucking army come after Jodie. Well, I don't know specifically if Ryan put out the hit or like the head of the CIA put out the hit on Jodie, but still, you know, Ryan is a part of the CIA. You know, he's a part of this thing, and he could have easily been like, "Oh no, don't do anything, just let her go." But no, he was a part of it. You know, he had his blame. Um, but yeah, I don't know if I want to talk about anything else. Yeah, the ending was amazing. It was very captivating. Willem Dafoe's character, because for the most part, Willem Dafoe's character is pretty simple-minded. You know, he's just a guy who's just there with for Jodie, and then all of a sudden, it dramatically turns where he loses his family, and then he wants to connect it with his family, and he connects with them in the most, I don't want to say disgusting, but the most disturbing way possible. You know, he traps his wife and daughter, and just to be around them, and it just doesn't look right from the get-go. And I was like, oh, what are you doing, Dr. Dawkins? And but yeah, like he made his peace and he dies with his family. I think because when he kills himself, he's like, oh, thanks for making peace with me. So I guess it depends on the way you approach him. I'm not sure. If you approach him in a nice way, I guess he kills himself and gives you appreciation or whatever. And if you, I don't know, like I have to replay it. But yeah, I feel like that stuff with Dr. Dawkins was very unique. The stuff with Ryan was definitely cool. Let's see, Cole. How can we forget about Cole? Cole? I think his name's Cole. The black guy. You know, he was a cool guy. He lived for me because at the very ending of the game, you know, he gets injured and like the camera just goes wide and Joey's in the middle, Ryan's right here, and Cole is in the other side. And it looks blatantly obvious, but like I quickly ran to Cole, got him, and then I had Aiden heal him up. And yeah, in my ending, Cole lives, and you know he seems to be living a pretty good life. But yeah, from what my brother told me, in his ending, Cole is in the other side because he died. Um, but yeah, like Beyond is just a great game. The stuff with the Native Americans that lasted pretty long, but like, that's the one I stuck with because for one, I feel like I'm one in touch with my native side, and I wanted to give Jodie a happy ending and be with people she could trust because I don't really trust Ryan. I mean, Ryan was there a lot, but I feel like he was just there for the sake of getting some pussy, not for the sake of actually being there. But who knows? I'm gonna retry it and see what happens when you do pick him. Um, the stuff with her as a child, her abandonment issues, her twin brother Aiden, all of that was very interesting, very twisted, very compelling. I think this is it for our conversation for Beyond Two Souls. The game, this game, is very very good. I will put my review up pretty soon, or it should be up right now. If it is, then check it out. Fuck, it's such a good game, and you know I can't wait until I put out this video and talk about it. If you're gonna say something stupid about the game, you know, give me some constructive criticism. Say something constructive, you know. Don't give me some bullshit like, oh, interactive storytelling stupid. You know, why you couldn't just make a movie? This is a fucking 10-hour game, you know. We're not gonna have 10-hour movies. And don't be saying stupid shit, you know. If you're a supporter of Beyond, please express your gratitude to this game and to what I have had said. You know, what do you think of the game? Did you like it? Did you not? Again, no stupid comments. You know, I hate stupid comments. It's not that I hate them, I ignore them, and then when I see them, I'm like, poor pathetic soul, and then I delete the comment. But Beyond Two Souls, a very excellent game. I don't have a problem with the IGN review. I think their review is very constructive, but kind of narrow-minded. The review I agreed the most was the Red 3 Games review. The GameSpot review was also really good. But yeah, I'll get my review out already or soon. So please comment below. Let me know what you think of the game. I want to have a conversation about this game. What did you think of Willem Dafoe, Ellen Page, the story, the concepts, the ending? You know, what did you think of it, and what would you rate the game? Would it be a 2 out of 5, a 5 out of 5, or a 9 out of 10, or 1 out of 10? What would you rate the game in terms of how much you liked it or disliked it? Or you could just tell me things you didn't like or dislike. Did you like the story but did you hate the gameplay, or vice versa? I just think the gameplay has a bit of a learning curve. But yeah, the game's good. I really like it. And I think I'll make that obvious in my review. I will put constructive criticism. I won't make it too biased because I want to give details on things I didn't like. Things that I've sort of expressed here, but only in a shorter way. So yeah, thank you very much for watching this video. Beyond Two Souls, an amazing game. I got it. Like, I keep on talking it on Facebook, and my friends are telling me, "Oh, are they paying you to promote this game?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, obviously not, because I would be a very rich man right now because I'm really talking about it. But I'm talking about it because I want more people to play it. I want, it's not just in terms, because you can still play this game even without buying it. You could just get a used game, and none of that money will go to the company. You could buy you could borrow it from a friend, or get a rented version, and spend less or not spend at all. So I think people should just play it because of the premise of what the game offers. It's such a deep meaning. There's such lots of emotional value to this game, and I feel more people need to experience that. And for those of you who want to buy the game, buy it. I feel like it's very worth it. But yeah, I guess that's about it. That's my 2 cents on the game. 53 minutes long. Thank you for watching this video. Have a nice day. Please comment negative comments.